Hey everybody, it's CJ. I'm in my apartment. Behind me on the screen, and I'm not doing quick clips or anything like that because I'm not even going to pay for this. I've already seen this movie. It's Venom from 2005. Uh, what I remember about this, I had a friend that I was frequently going to movies with. It's my microwave. My den-den's ready. But I was going to the movies because I love horror movies, and my friend, I was seeing them and everything. And so this was set in Louisiana, and it was right around the time that Skeleton Key came out also. Skeleton Key was a much better representation of Louisiana, I think, at the time, uh, with the, but okay. But what got me was this name, Mr. Jangles. And I guess it was something like a Mr. Bojangles, so Mr. Jangles. And the reason why that I'm paying attention to it is because of American Horror Story, and season 10, their big baddie, or um, what can I say, the red herring, who actually did commit some murders after he was fooled into thinking he was the murderer. I just spoiled that season for you. He's not the killer. Uh, Initially, he's not the big monster behind everything that's going on. But anyway, uh, his character, the character in that movie, is Mr. Jingles, and obviously it's a play on Mr. Jangles. I love Ryan Murphy, his shows, and I particularly love American Horror Story. How it takes all these elements from these horror movies and legends and stories that we know and breaks them down and deconstructs them really, and then reconstructs them into something else. But Mr. Jingles, no. Uh, Jangles. Bojangles, that's kind of a jazzy kind of thing. It was a very. I'm just saying, Mr. Ryan Murphy, you're never going to see this. When you ever pick up on something like this and you break it down, it's okay to do that, and then understand that people are going to get the references. Even kids today, teens and young adults who are coming in today who love horror are going to get the classic references. You don't have to be stupid. But every once in a while, you do something clever like this, which this was not a particularly uh, classic movie. I guess by now it might be. It's 2005, and now it's so this is like a 15-year-old movie. But it was like maybe 13 years old, maybe 2005 to yeah, it's 13 years old when you were doing. Well, no, it was older. I don't know. I don't want to do math, but I don't. It wasn't like a a bona fide vintage thing. I mean, it wasn't. It wasn't even a great movie. It was kind of a. It was there, and it was kind of like, okay, this is neat, and there's a serial killer going on, and there's a mystery and everything like that. But yeah, dude, if you're gonna really keep doing this, you don't have to stupefy it for the audience. You know what I mean? Uh, some of the dialogue in the programming of American Horror Story, particularly, and I'm rhetorically talking to Ryan Murphy and Brad Falchuk, who are never going to see this anyway. But uh, the the dialogues from episodes like uh, well, season two, Asylum, particularly, was wonderful. And then some of the dialogue from there were some times when it was like really uh, the art of these, it really approached like high art and great dialogue, and uh, homaging even some of the classics. Now I know some of that was ripped off. You in season two. the very last line, when you look into the face of evil, evil's going to look back at you. That's the same as saying, when you look into the abyss looks back at you. So, but you know, uh, yeah, my hair is not fixed, and so I just like put this little beanie on. Uh, but this is a quick thing. When I was flipping through, looking for movies to watch, and I kind of maybe do want to watch this. I don't know. Uh, I'll probably go to my, uh, from where I make my purchases and download to my Movies Anywhere app. I do it with the Vudu app, which is the Walmart streaming, because I just started my collection there, and like a zillion, when I first started it, like a zillion years ago, when digital movies were first a thing, and I just kind of like stayed with it. I'm kind of a loyalist until I get pissed off, and then I'm a never againist. I'll never come back. I always do when I get over. Uh, when I like this one time I went to a Burger King, and I do remember this story. I'm just gonna say it real quick. I went to a Burger King. It was at lunch. I went there. Uh, got two cheeseburgers. One cheeseburger was okay. It was like I know what it is. It was like a bacon cheeseburger, two bacon cheeseburgers, and one of the cheeseburgers didn't have bacon on it. So I took it back, right around. I had to go back in there, and then they remade the burger, and the burger uh, this time had the bacon, but it didn't have the meat on it. And I was like, I was through. And so, I mean, I think it was like 3 or 4 years before I went back into that uh, uh, Burger King. And it's the one that's closest to me everywhere, downtown or in the Highland neighborhood when I've lived over there or whatever. So, yeah, I didn't do that. Okay, so, yeah. So I have my clicker here, so I can't like flip through and all that kind of good stuff. I'm not that high tech. I don't do high tech videos like highly edited and skilled and everything like that. I'm sorry. Uh, I could never be an actual like co- uh, commentator about movies, but I do love them. And I love horror movies. That's a passion of mine. I do uh, paintings. My paintings have a sort of macabre touch. They always have. Like even if they're not, uh, you know, gonna hang in a museum, there's always something like off about them. A little, you know what I mean? That's the secret. There's always something in the narrative of my paintings that's always a little twisted, and even if it's not on the canvas, the backstory to it is there. And then I like songs that are, uh, emotionally gripping and a little. In order to get that, you sometimes tell a darker story. My poetry's when I write poetry and short stories, and so yeah, I have a taste for the macabre. And I love rock and roll, and I don't mind if my rock and roll leans a little bit to the dark side. It's not anything that I take super serious. So, but anyway, CJ Miller, and I'm gonna try to work on when I'm doing these videos, making them a little bit shorter instead of I think that 40-minute video I did last night maybe was a little bit excessive even for me for YouTube. The whole reason I did this is I wanted shorter, briefer, you know, uh, means of communication instead of throwing too many ideas all at one time. I love Ryan Murphy. Lily Rabe, who frequently works with them, says that he's incredibly psychic, which to me would be like maybe that he puts a lot of work in and loves this genre and puts a lot of work in it, and also scours the internet and Facebook and all the social medias for uh, references and ideas, and he's even gone as far as to like ask people, uh, what story ideas would you like to see in American Horror Story / American Horror Stories, the new singular, anthology that should be season 2 coming out next month. Uh, so, uh, but it's no wonder because like that's one of the reasons why I broke from Facebook. There were a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons was I was starting to lose originality in my creativity. I mean, I was starting to my creative streak, my writings, my everything. It was starting to be sort of guided by, uh, whatever the zeitgeist was that was going on, and it's like that's not really. Um, if I'm gonna be ever any sort of creative person whose work is to be consumed by anybody, I don't want it to be a copy of or a lesser than. There needs to be, even if it's in a genre that already exists. I mean, there needs to be some originality. There needs to be some creativity. I don't need to just make a collage of all the works that have come before. Because I do not believe that everything has already been done. That's something that people hear. No, we have some common themes in our creative works, people who are creative, because we live in the same world. But no, not everything has been done. I don't believe that at all. So anyway, um, good night. Bye. Oh, check out that movie Venom, the horror movie from 2005. The comic, the what are the Sony movies, the comic book movies? They're good too, but this is different, very different. Don't get them mixed up. Bye. Oh, and that Hatchet. I never did care for the Hatchet movies, but Venom kind of reminded me of that a little bit too. So I don't know. Bye.